be the anchors right now. Be the glue to bring everybody and everything together. And I am saying for each of us listening to this, it is go time. It is game time to make a positive impact. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo! Recording from, I think she's actually sitting on a toilet in a motel room, but that's a whole nother story which we'll get to. If you're feeling freaked out, scared, anxious, or downright concerned right now, then do we have the Love Over Fear show for you. That was Love Above Fear show for you. Today we'll talk about calling in the love, staying in the love, being in the love, and being the most incredible beacon of bright and shiny light you can be, even when it's time to cover your assets. That plus we'll talk about eye emergencies, coronavirus chaos, changing plans, calm, love, and compassion, dopamine rushes, peeling back the ick, the power of light workers, being the boomerang, taps over drains, filling the world bank of thought, birthing humanity anew, the Chipmunks' triumphant return, woohoo! And what in the world Inspire Nation boot camps and Winston Churchill have to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ, at this very late hour from a motel bathroom. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine. Surprisingly, I just meditated right before getting on the show, so it's the best you'll probably see me.
Excellent. And I had wound down, was closing all the lights, was heading to bed. CJ had missed that window.
I'm sorry.
And she's going, can you do now? And the reason that I'm doing now is because you and I, CJ, we have a big job to do. And anybody, if you're listening to this, if you're listening and attracted to our energy, it means that you too are a light worker. And we have work to do. It is go time. No excuses, no holding back, no staying in the darkness. It is time for you to cast your light on the world with everything that you've got. Because I see us at a pivot point, a very positive pivot point. Although statistically, this is going to be a very challenging time for us. But I see us as being able to birth humanity anew out of this if we choose to go to the light. And I'm going to be talking about that a lot here tonight. So that's why I chose to do this, CJ. So why in the world are you speaking to me from a bathroom?
Well, it's very interesting because remember last week I was telling you about how Seattle, there's just all the stores were cleared out. Hand sanitizer at $40 for like 2 ounces of hand sanitizer. I mean, it's been pretty phenomenal. And I guess, is it catching up to you right now?
Yes, in a very big way, in that we're a tourist town. We're very big on international tourism. And so the best that I can ascertain is that an Australian group of tourists, they're not telling us much. There's a real suppression here for tourism purposes. It's kind of ooga booga. A group of Australian tourists visited. One went home, a 21-year-old girl, and when she returned to Australia, she was found to have coronavirus. 13 of her companions here had symptoms. 10 of them got tested, 3 of them chose not to, and a handful of them didn't have symptoms and weren't tested, which to me is a big no-no, but that's a whole nother story. As of today, 9 or 10 of them have tested positive, which means we've had somewhere between 13 to 18 people, known people, I'm sure there are a lot more, interacting, nothing against them. They were being beautiful human beings, interacting in a very small valley. And so the Roaring Forks Valley is going to really change overnight. As of 2 days ago, when 3 days ago, got a whiff of this, everything has started to change and it's going to go. I want to stay in the light. So as I start to explain what's going on here, I am really training myself, and I'm working with each of my coaching clients right now, and I'm training each of my boot campers. As you hear me saying this, there is an element of almost excitement, a buzz about this is taking place, that's taking place, the other thing that's taking place. What is going on is we are wired biologically to look for danger. And that's why I say that we incarnated in these meat suits, in these rental suits, to learn some very powerful lessons and to actually transcend our wiring while learning how to manifest. We are all manifestors in these bodies. We are attracted to the negative, to danger, so that we can go, ha, there it is. There's the tiger, to keep the tribe safe. And so we get a rush by seeing what's in the news. What I'm training people to do right now is to catch the rush. And when they do, when you sense, oh, I found this in the news, and this person said this, and this just took place, notice that's the dopamine response. And I want you to peel one layer away. And what you will find, I have no other way than to describe this. You will find an ick, I-C-K, ick, that to me is akin to if you've ever kissed a boy or girl or slept with a boy or girl and afterwards said, this feels all wrong. That is the ick that is one layer under the surface. And if we can catch that and realize that dopamine rush actually had a layer of negativity, heavy, steep negativity underneath it, then we can actually transcend it or transmute it and go, I send love. I bring love. I am in love. I send love. I'm coming from a place of kindness and compassion. And every time we catch that ick, send out all the love and light in the world so that we can be a tap filling the world bank of thought right now with positivity and light and love, because it's so important, because it's overstress on the system, whether it's from disease, chemicals, or otherwise, that kills people. And right now people are being stressed to the max. If we fill the tub with goodness and bring as much light as we can transform things. And if not, if we dance in that ick, if we focus on that ick, we actually drain the tub of goodness. We fill the tub with that. And that can have very serious consequences. So I've gone on for a long time. I have a lot more on this. But let me give the mic to you, CJ.
I would add on to what you're saying, and saying that this has truly been for me, because we've been living it a little bit longer, is a balance of heart and head. So we had met, after I talked to you that last Friday, we had met with a friend of mine who has a lot of docs in her family. I have a lot of people who are immunologists at University of Pennsylvania, all these leading medical institutions. And what they say is that this virus is no worse. It's new, and so it's scary, and we're trying to stop it so it doesn't become, worldwide pandemic. However, we may be too late for that. However, if you actually look at this flu, the flu that's around, that people get the flu shot for, there are more people, like 20,000, I think 40,000 people have died, which is way more than people have died with the coronavirus. So there are other flus that are out there that other people died. The same populations are at risk, right? Really young babies, older people. And so the people who came to visit you in Colorado, chances are they're fine. They're young people. They're asymptomatic.
Well, they're not asymptomatic.
Oh, they were. Okay, but there's some people who are
and they're
young people.
all over the range. So they had young people, and they also had 50 and 60-year-olds who visited.
Okay, so for a lot of the young people, they don't even know that they have it, and they're walking around carrying it. And in fact, probably even before January, when this all broke out in Wuhan, they probably had a lot of other people walking around, international students going back and forth from China, Italy, wherever, going back and forth, being unknown carriers of this disease, because they weren't necessarily showing symptoms. And so a lot of young people have this. A lot of young people are fine when they have this. It's older people. And when you actually look at Washington State, that's 11 people that have died. 9 of them all came from a state-owned nursing home, so older people. And then the other 2, one was a cancer patient, and the other one had some type of medical complication. So there are people who are having, they're unless you're in. So the vast majority of people aren't necessarily going to be affected by this. And the big issue is that when you actually get to hospitals, it's really hard to triage people, because hospitals aren't set up for actually specific rooms that are set up separately. And if you actually do have coronavirus, it's a lung issue, and you actually need a respirator. And there's respirators are very expensive machines, and there are not enough of the respirators to go around. So, all these conditions, you have to be of a certain age, you have to have lung or heart, pulmonary issues, all those kinds of things. So I think from the head perspective, I think after talking to her, I thought I feel calmer now, because it's very unlikely that you're going to die. Okay, that's one thing. And people who are unhealthy, you need to take smart precautions. And I can't tell you the number of people, as I've been walking around, that I see touching their faces, it's really hard.
When I've studied this worldwide, and both you and we have very analytical, sharp minds. And so I always drop down into heart, but I chop wood and carry water. I want to know what's going on. And
Absolutely.
What it looks like to me is there's very little testing in this country, big challenge, and a whole bunch of reasons. We won't necessarily get into any of those, but there's very little testing or resources to do testing in this country. B, there's now studies that show, even from the NIH and from Stanford, that particles, somebody doesn't even have to sneeze or doesn't have to cough, somebody can just breathe, that particles are in the air, can stay in the air. Part of it says 3 hours, part of it says 40 hours. All we know for sure from these initial studies, and this is something that's also been coming out of China, that if you are where somebody was breathing, you're able to breathe this in, and that may make you sick as well. And they don't even have to show any signs. So you can think, if I wash everything, I'll be fine. If I don't touch my eyes, I'll be fine. But even if somebody breathes in the vicinity, studies are now showing that can make you sick as well. And then C, none of us wants to get sick, but what we really don't want to do is carry this to anybody who is immunosuppressed or is older or can't handle this as well as us. And that to us is as big of a concern as getting sick ourselves, is transmitting that to people who can't handle it. And that leads to the whole healthcare challenge and potential healthcare crisis. And the biggest reason that we want to be cautious about this is to slow its spread. If it's going to spread, okay, we want to try to prevent that, but we don't want to overwhelm the healthcare system so that everybody who is sick can be seen, which means less social contact, washing like a banshee, not hanging out necessarily in groups right now, and not going to visit grandma and grandpa, even when you really want to right now. These are important. We do, though, want to me, approach it from a place of love. The more positive energy we bring to this, I think the better. Because if we fill that world tank of thought with love, what you've got there? You've got something right here that's love related.
I'll tell you, it is related. So when I was thinking about preventative, so I have.
Had I mentioned colloidal silver last week?
Yes, I actually got that too.
Yep.
This is the stuff that I muscle tested would be best for me. So
Yep.
colloidal silver is one preventative.
Yep.
There's immunity support where you can take this every day.
Like echinacea and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, echinacea actually, they said it actually amps up your immune system. Mm-hmm. But you can't take it every day.
Yeah.
And after a while, it does, the efficacy does, like 2 weeks, and the efficacy is down. So if you are caught a cold, take echinacea. There's stuff like this, which is immune support.
Yeah.
These are actually certain mushrooms that they have. There's
like
colloidal
reishi
silver that
and stuff.
You had. Yeah, and then this is I don't know what kind of mushrooms these are.
Yep.
But they're a bunch of different mushrooms. Anyways, go to your herbalist, and then this is one called Pro-Symbiotic, which is basically making sure your gut is healthy.
Very
good. And
good.
then I was basically taking that and something to relieve my nerves, calm my nerves, so that when I was on the plane. Yeah. Because I was flying on the plane. I wouldn't take this normally, but because I was on the plane and there were a lot of sick people actually on the plane from Seattle, so I was like, oh God. So I washed my hands. I did all the kind of smart things. I seemed to be fine. That was I don't know, it felt like a year ago. I think it was 4 days
Yeah.
ago. But everything is fine. I think you're preventative measures. So I think I talked to you on the whether I should fly from Seattle to the East Coast, and
Yeah.
there's an issue like if I'm sick, am I going to be spreading it from Seattle? I was not sick. I felt like okay, I can fly over. There are plenty of sick people on the plane that were flying over, which made me go, oh well, like everyone has a line, whatever. I don't know what's happening. So I flew back over, and then I was afraid of getting sick from other people. And the plane was about a third less than I normally see on the plane. So the planes were less crowded. So that was interesting. So we flew over to, and I didn't really want to have my life be dominated by fear or be
Important.
And I've been watching myself to not be too reactive. So we got here on Sunday.
And here is where? Baltimore?
We flew from Seattle to Baltimore, then saw my son who had a cough, and I was like, oh no. And he's been tested at Hopkins. He's fine. He does not have coronavirus. But, it's just like you're just looking around. So then you do the smart things, right? So he called. He didn't have a fever. He had just a mild cough, which there is a flu going around where you get a mild cough. So that's the kind of scary thing, and it's completely like run of the mill stuff. So then on Monday, we drove up to Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, it's like there's no difference at all, aside from not being able to find any hand sanitizer anywhere.
Yeah.
I was, however, able to get tissue paper, which I couldn't find anywhere in Seattle. So I grabbed some tissue paper so I could use that. And there are hand sanitizers everywhere in the airport. Every hotel I've been to, there's hand sanitizers everywhere so that you can use hand sanitizing stuff regardless. So people are preparing and making sure that people who do decide to go out and travel are taken care of. So that was a really nice thing.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so that happened on Monday, and then what's today?
Today is Wednesday. As we're recording this, is Wednesday.
Okay, so yesterday, in the evening, we got a message for both of my kids are at school. The first one was like, don't come back until a week later. And by the way, we're going to have classes that are conducted online.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't come back to campus at all, actually. And then we're like, wait, what? What do we do with our stuff? And all these parents were like, because there are kids who are through all different scenarios, kids that are international students that can't go home to their families. There are kids that who are going to be graduating during senior year and no graduation. There are there are all sorts of kids who are hiking and left their stuff in the room and can't go to online class because their rooms, they can't access the room. Yeah. So all sorts of mayhem broke out. And all the parents on the aliases were just typing all these emails. And then my other son was told to similar kind of thing, don't come to school. When you actually leave for spring break, take all your stuff and pack all your stuff as if this may be the last time you're in your dorm room.
Yes.
And maybe you'll come back, maybe you won't. And so it's kind of okay, I'm not sure exactly what to do. So because we decided to come here, we decided to also help our kids. So we are actually going to tomorrow. So then when we got that game plan, we we changed all of our plane tickets. We changed all of our hotels last night. And then we looked into we looked into a whole bunch of different things. Then this morning, my son had an acupuncture session yesterday where his face was on the cradle and he had contact lenses and his eye was kind of rubbing against the cradle. And then now he has the corneal abrasion. So this morning we went over to the eye emergency center.
Oh my.
So we spent 2.5 hours at the eye emergency center. And then I was like, okay, that. I mean, it's just what it is. You can't get panicked. We're like, well, let's just go have lunch. And then my son's like, I need to go back to the hotel room because I can't do this tourist thing because I can't even see because my pupils are dilated and my cornea is cracked. Oh. So I shouldn't laugh. I mean, it's just so absurd. So then we get home after this walk And we get this message like, now my eldest son, who was told not to go back, is told, like, actually, if you can, at one point you should go back and put all your stuff in storage. Mm-hmm. So then I basically took all of our plane reservations. We canceled them yet again. We took some of our hotel reservations, also canceled those. And then rebooked a car so we could actually drive a car, so we could drive it all the way from where we were in Philadelphia to go to Baltimore to move our next. So we're going to move tomorrow morning. We're going to get up early, drive over, put all of my kids' stuff in storage that we had to organize this morning. So we have a storage place. We're moving all his stuff into storage on Friday. And then on Friday, we're going to get in the car and drive 5 hours down to North Carolina, move my second child, and in like a day or so, or 2-3 hours. And then we're going to fly back to Seattle. So it's just, it really is an exercise of being present, because I think the old me would have lost my mind. I'm like, okay, let's change it. Okay, let's change it. It's the Camino me came into play. And, it's a combination of like, wait, before we do this, can we think about this? Which is so not me. Normally I'm off doing something. And my husband's like, no, we can't. And it's interesting because a balance occurs.
I'm pulling up my little new turtle fetish that Jessica brought back from Sedona. And anything that you can do fast, you can do even better slowly. That's what you're doing. Yeah,
it's very hard because I said, why don't we wait till tomorrow? Because we'll have more information before we rebook everything. Yes. But he's like, why not? And both of us were right, because we needed to do things like cancel the hotel room regardless, which we did yesterday. We needed to find booked flights, but they ended up being the wrong flights because we got more information today. And I was like, listen, I think I'm ready I think we should walk every day as if we don't know what that day is going to happen. Like, we should walk around every day knowing that our whole schedule could be blown to smithereens, and be okay with that. That's just going to be how we live over the next couple of days. Because what are you going to do? Lose your mind? No, like, it's just, this is the way it is. Get used to it.
That's why we're having this interview after 9 p.m. on a Wednesday evening. Because I think it's important for you to be sharing what you're sharing, for me to share, and for others to understand. This is a time, to me, it is such a beautiful time of choose love, choose love. And I want to come back to that in a minute, and how we can really wire for that and have a strobe light effect. I'll explain that in a minute. But it is so important that we are a voice of calm right now, and a voice of let's move slowly, because the human condition, not only is it to look for the tiger, but then it's to act fast. But this has so many different strings coming from so many different angles that act fast may not be the best approach at all. And so we do step forward. I'm not a kumbaya guy. I'm not like, let's just send love to everybody and just, keep my head in an ostrich hole. No, let's step forward, but let's get some information first. Let's breathe in, let's ground, and then let's move extra slowly but expeditiously in what feels like the best direction.
Yeah, and learn from it, right? So today I thought, you know what? I'm actually super stressed out, because I realized that I don't want the kids to ever feel stressed out. So I just take all the stress, right? And so I think as parents, that's something that I did. Other parents may do the same. And so there's a period where my husband, I'm like, I really have to walk, possibly sprint. Like, I need to get
go,
out.
Go, CJ, go.
And walk. And my husband's like, okay. I'm like, if you don't want to walk, then just tell me, because I need to do something. And so we took a really long walk around Philadelphia, and that helped immensely, because I think that one of the things that I think we don't realize, at least for me, and I bet for other people too, is you hold a lot of tension in your body, because you're kind of like, you're
holding
kind of
energy. You are a bowl, a vessel of energy.
Yeah. So it's about, it's okay. I'll deal with it. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you're like a little trooper. I'll do it. I'm good. I'm going to keep on trooping. And what happens is that there's a lot of tension. Like, you're like a little ball of tension. And it's kind of like, each time the fear comes in, you kind of like, this is for me. This is what some people do. I had the fear come in, and I just Okay, I can't deal with that now. So just compress it down into a little trash compactor and hope to deal with it later. But right now I've got to like book the reservations, all this stuff, like take all the fear and compact it down into a trash compactor. But it's still there. And so it was in my body, it was in my energy field, it was everywhere. And so when I was walking, I was like, and I was like shaking out my arms and like
Yes.
trying to
I have
shake.
people doing a lot of this, quite literally,
Yeah.
taking and going and throwing that energy off of them. Yes.
Yeah. It's like just, and then pounding your feet so you can ground your energy. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like, like just taking a deep breath, shaking your arms, stamping your feet. Because what happens is you have a bunch of compressed energy that's in there. So you need to release the tension in your body because otherwise it just sits there. So that's one tip. And you do that out of self-love, so you're actually taking the nervous energy, the worry energy, the what if I don't know, whatever energy, right? I don't know what's going to happen with it tomorrow, and you're like, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to know. All I know is that perhaps every day something will be different. Okay.
So let's go from
Do whatever.
which is so powerful because what we're experiencing is primal, it's group fear,
Mm-hmm.
it's a possible
Yeah.
herd mentality, and we're in a field of fear. We can go, I think it is important to shed that fear. I love that. I guess I don't do it that way. I literally just flick it off of me, but I'm Mr. Movement. I will get, just like you, I will get that movement in. But what I've been training people is a strobe light effect, which is to recognize the fear, recognize the darkness, throw light at it. I see fear, I throw light. I see fear, I throw love. I see fear, I throw light. I see fear, I throw love. And what you're doing is you're literally linking up in your mind. You're going from a hardwired for negativity to hardwired to love, because every opportunity, every chance that fear comes in, you throw light back at it, and you start being this flickering light of going from fear to love, from fear to love, from fear to love, until you realize that a light bulb appears to be shining bright all the time, but it actually has a flicker rate. And you have a flicker rate. And the more that you attach, bringing it to the light, bringing it to the love, the more that you actually, through this experience, start glowing light and love. I do this when I meet somebody right now because everybody is in a state of fear. Send them light, send them love, send them light, send them love, until now I go out in public, and the more people that I see, the more, in a sense, quote, fear that I see, the more I am shining bright, and it's the ultimate renewable resource. The more I send to them, the more comes back to me. And it has this energetic shift on everybody you come across. Even if unconsciously they're going through the airport, they're in their old world of fear, they feel just a tiny bit better.
You're like a Hare Krishna, but you're just like, like a little
Absolutely.
I love it.
And we can all train into that place. We can entrain ourselves through this experience. That's why I call it humanity birthing anew. First off, I think there was a pre-CV world. I call it the coronavirus CV. A pre-CV world, and there's a post-CV world. We don't know how long it's going to stay around for. We don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like 60s, 70s free love, and then all of a sudden, AIDS come along. We're like walking, talking condoms today. And it will have an effect, short-term, who knows, long-term, on the economy, on travel, on tourism. But we can actually look at how can we entrain for the positive? How can we drop borders this time? How can we be more loving to our nature? To our nature, to our neighbor. How can we all come together out of a place of love and use this as the opportunity, rather than in sci-fi movies, it's the aliens who come in, who cause us all to come together. This is like a global 9/11, or I'm calling it a global NDE. It's near death. It's not that bad, but it is a 2x4, which can help us to make one hell of a positive shift.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with my own experience, it's like just watching the fear. And then I think, so I said right before, so anytime I have little moments, I've just been meditating. So and actually I like the pranayama meditation. So There's one that you can do, which is actually balancing your right and left part of your hemispheres of your brain. So it's
Alternate nasal breathing.
Yeah, so you put your middle finger on your third eye area. You breathe in, let's say, with your left nose. Right nostril. Cap it, hold it, breathe out with your left opposite nostril. Breathe in, and then breathe out. And so what I've been doing, very similar to what you're recommending, is I breathe in, love, compassion, wisdom. Breathe out, fear, anger, worry, doubt. Breathe in, love, wisdom, compassion. Breathe out, fear and attachment. So I've just been doing that over and over again. And I literally, when I'm breathing out, I'm like exhaling and pulling my belly button as it hits, like trying to imagine it hitting my spine, and then breathing in, fully inflating my belly all the way to the chest, and then exhale all the way out. And just the act of like full belly breathing switches you from, so not only are you focusing on love, compassion, wisdom, and you're exhaling out fear and attachment, worry, doubt, jealousy, envy. It's like fear and attachment is the right nostril, and then the left nostril is like any negative emotion that's coming up, worry, doubt. And then it's something that you can do to kind of conceptually think about things. Like, so it's like I'm breathing in love, like I'm letting out. So you're kind of like in your mind, moving your emotions around. Yeah. Yes. And you're linking it in your brain and balancing your brain. So the right, left part of your hemisphere. And then the full breath in and exhale, you're actually moving from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic, and then it kind of calms your whole system down. So it's like a body, mind, spirit combo that is just a different, like it's a different thing. It's a very similar thing to the flickering light bulb, but I think it's like, do what you believe, right? Like, okay, I don't know if I believe in this other stuff, but it has shown that it will trigger the, like, basically, getting your lungs open. Yeah.
And it's important you're getting it down to your belly, because we are, as a society, we are as a population, a world population, we are up in our upper chest breathers. And if we don't understand that the chest is basically a bell, or we're going to call it a pyramid or a triangle, the bottom part of your lungs is where the most gaseous exchange takes place. And so the slower and deeper you breathe, the more you trigger the rest and relax response. The more you breathe in your upper chest, like you're running through the airport trying to get to the plane, or trying to make sure that nobody coughs on me and nobody breathes on me and nobody sneezes on me, that is your fight or flight response. We have more than enough of that right now.
Yeah, and I think actually one other thing to think about is that the calmer that you are, the actually more boosted up your immune system is.
Bingo.
So, right? Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of reasons to be calm. You can approach it from a scientific basis. If you don't believe in any of this light and love thing, I hope you do. But if you don't, from a scientific basis, just breathing more oxygen will make you feel calmer. And that making you feel calmer is going to boost your immunity system, which will decrease your likelihood of catching anything.
And I look at all dis-ease as how much stress can we handle, body, mind, and spirit. When we're breathing your way, when we're breathing slowly, when you're breathing in through the nose in particular, that's like baby having mama's milk. Baby always drank through the nose. Baby only breathed through the mouth when she had an upper respiratory infection. So literally, when we go back to that baby's breath, we take and put the stress to the side, which means there is more energy, more chi in the bank, more immune system available to deal with the stress of a chemical, of a virus, of a bacteria. Whereas if we're stressed out, if we're in the fight or flight response, there's a lot less in the bank to handle things. And right now, most amazing words I got just a couple decades ago from a pro cyclist, Randy Wicker, Fort Collins, Colorado. He said, when you're racing, always leave something in the tank. That is the most important thing right now, is don't run yourself too empty. De-stress, sleep better, eat better, love more, send out love more, and do everything you can, even as you're running through the airport, to take a pause and take one breath or do one cycle, as you're saying, of your alternating nasal breathing to get yourself grounded.
Yeah, and if you can't do that, just breathe through into your belly, put your hands on your belly. Or sigh. I can't tell you how often I love going to yoga classes, and then when the teacher gives people a permission to sigh, it's like, oh, yeah. And the other thing I like is when you go breathe in, and then you do the horse lips, you go, because somehow that actually loosens up the jaw area, so that when your face is relaxed, everything below you is relaxed. If you can get your face to relax, that looks horrible.
And I'm going to say, if you can, get your partner to tickle you, especially in a time of need.
This has also helped. So those are some of the tips that I've been using, at least throughout. And it's not, you're not, and also forgive yourself, because it's hard. This is a scary kind of thing. The unknown is scary. And like you said, it could be an opportunity. We just don't see it that way. Or, sadly, it could just be the way that life is going to conduct itself from now on. If we're in a global community, these are things that are going to happen.
There is a choice, though. And if you're listening to this, if you are attracted to our energy, I believe we are each who's listening to this light workers. And we have the opportunity to rewire ourselves and send out so much love. You don't have to believe in love. Love is. You fell in love with somebody, you love your child. Bring it to love. Send out as much as you can. Be the anchors right now. Be the glue to bring everybody and everything together. And I am saying, for each of us listening to this, it is go time. It is game time to make a positive impact. Yes, forgive yourself. Certainly, if you go to that place of fear, you're human. You've got a pulse. But then bring it back to, what can I do for others in this time? What can I do to raise the vibration? I think it is so incredibly important. And if you're listening to this, I don't want you to get away with staying in that fear place. If you're stuck in fear, what can I do to help somebody else in this time? And oh my God, will we make a positive difference? On that note, woohoo! We've been running these boot camps. They've been amazing. And I've been getting in my automatic writing that it is time to be a voice of calm. It is time to truly help people, like you're doing here today. And we have our next boot camp, when people are listening to this, happens to be on positivity. It's 5 days, once a night on positivity. We're going to be doing group intention power of 8 meditations. We're going to be giving tools like this. We're going to be anchor and grounding in. And the idea has come to me, and I'm playing with it now, to be kind of like Winston Churchill during this time. Winston Churchill during World War II was a voice of calm on the radio in the UK every single day. And I am contemplating and very seriously thinking about feeling out whether I will hold a class a day. These are $7 for a week. A class a day throughout this whole time. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to be almost in lockdown, to help people to ground, and so that we can all learn and grow together through this time, because this is our time. By our time, while I'm saying send out light and love and share with everybody, it is a time to go inward, because we're certainly not going to be partying on the outside. So it is a time of internal expansion.
Yes, I love that idea. Do you realize that I had a job? I had 4 potential jobs, all of which got canceled in the last week. I'm like, all right. So why? I don't know. But I like the idea of going on the inside. Why not?
Why not? What a perfect incubator. It's why I'm saying we are birthing a humanity anew. We are, in a sense, going back into the womb right now. We're going back into our homes, whatever that looks like, and kind of hunkering down. We're going back into the womb. Or we could say you're going into your cocoon. You can come out as a butterfly. This is an opportunity for that positive transformation.
I like it.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
With that said, if you are challenged, if you know somebody who's challenged, do all you can to help them in this time. Because there are going to be a lot of people, statistically speaking, there are going to be a lot of people who are struggling right now. Help everybody out in every way you can. Be open with your wallet if you can too in this time, because you are going to have friends, neighbors, others who either will lose their jobs or may not have the hours that they need to support themselves, or may have to bring their kids home and they were working full time. And so I want each of us to realize we are a global community right now and do everything we can to help everyone we can in every way possible. That's how we're going to come out extra, extra special.
Can I add one caveat?
Please.
One addendum to your...
You always do. And then I may addendum. I reserve the right to addendum. Why didn't we go to law school, CJ?
I don't know. I would say that one of the things about sending love is don't expect it in return. I mean, it sometimes it happens, like mentioned it, where it's a virtual circle. But when people are sometimes in deep, deep fear, they may not be able to give you anything, and that's okay. Like, go give unconditional love, which is giving love with no expectation of anything in return, even a thank you. It's okay. Like, people are really suffering now, and that's okay, you know?
I'll add an addendum to your addendum.
Okay.
Which is give till it hurts and it won't hurt anymore. It's the act of giving love that can help you feel better. When you don't have the attachment to it, it fills you up. It's why, for instance, I'm saying about the boot camps, I'm like, I get more energized from this. The more I give away, the more, it's what I said at the beginning of the show, we are being the boomerang. It comes back, but it doesn't necessarily come back with somebody loving us. They're in a place of fear. That's why you're going down through the airport and you send love, they may get a pfft, but they don't know where it comes from, and they don't turn to you and go, I send the love right back at you. It'd be really cool if they did, CJ. I'd be pretty freaked out. But...
Of course, yes. I love that.
Any last words of wisdom you want to share with people? I think this has been beautiful and important, and I'm so thankful that you chased me down tonight to do this.
I'm very thrilled to. I send everyone out there lots of love. Remember to breathe. Remember that in your mind, you're probably fine. Honestly, like, the likelihood is very low. And even if you do catch it, it's not hugely different. I mean, because it's the first round, it's, it'll probably be bigger, but it doesn't have to be. Take good care of yourself and you can be fine.
And I'll add to that, the addendum there, is take good care of your parents or grandparents, even from a distance. And I would be a voice of, what would be a voice of reason, a voice of compassion, a voice of helping them to be more conservative during this time. So if you know somebody going in for a medical procedure that might compromise their immune system, let's consider pausing it for a little bit. If you have an elder, a parent, or somebody who is hanging out with large groups of people right now, maybe temporarily have them hold back from that. Not out of fear, but if they're in that more susceptible age bracket or health bracket, let's help them to take a step back for right now, to look at how we can boost their immune system. Look at what supplements they can take. Look at how you can send them more love. Look at how they can get more rest. Temporarily, let's be the tortoise and help them play it a little bit slow for now, even if it's not as much fun, so that there can be a lot more fun tomorrow.
Like it.
Woohoo. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou in the bathroom.
Somebody had to say it.
Sink to low.
Will we sink to no low here on the Inspire Nation show? Saying, be well, have fun, love you guys so, so much, and love yourself up. Put that oxygen mask on yourself first and foremost, and then love up everybody around you, even if it's at a meter's distance. And above and beyond.
My new thing is going like this. I go like this or go like this, which is an Indian thing, which is I feel you.
I am always going like this. Always, always, always. The Japanese term is ojigi. I am always, I don't know why, ojigiing to everyone, everywhere.
Ojigi. Ojigi yourself. No need to hug right now. Just ojigi.
Yes. Bow, 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 and send love, send love. Everyone, have so much kindness and compassion for everyone right now. And I think we can really all grow closer and closer still, closer to our true essence, our true nature, to love, to each other through this time period, and really turn it into something special. Really.
Woohoo!
Guys, you rock. Be the ambassador of love and light. Be the light worker that you are. Shine bright. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for doing this, CJ. Thank you.
Fun. I know that you felt really strongly about it, and I do too. So I'm glad that you are out there shining bright, and that you are having such a wild success with your 7-on-7. I just think about the our original phone call where you're like, I don't know, I guess I'm just going to do this. And now it's like a thing, like it's turned into a thing.
It is all of the above. And what is to me most exciting is I feel a calling to be the McDonald's of spiritual self-help right now. Meaning, not that I dumb down the message, far from it. I challenge people with the message, but accessible to everybody.
Yeah,
and we got our surveys back, and 2/3 of the people said you can raise your price. We're not going to, because I want it to be accessible to that 1/3 that couldn't otherwise have done it or would have chosen not to, because they are going to be evangelical. They're going to change their lives, and they're going to say, you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. And we're going to get a whole movement going here.
Woohoo! I'm so excited for you, Michael.
All right,
Bye.
Lots of love.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
I think I just had one of the most important interviews of my career with CJ Liu. I want to send all my love your way. Feel free to check out our other videos here. Make sure you subscribe below. Click on that bell icon for upcoming YouTube lives and premieres. Leave your comments below. Share your stories. Send all the love out in the world you can. You truly are you're an inspiration. You are a light worker. You are a walking, talking ambassador of love. We really need you during this time. Click on the link below to join our next boot camp on positivity, or our tapping boot camp, which is going to help you overcome fear. Shine bright. I love you guys so much. Woohoo!